This is Bree from Spooky Happy Hour. I'm here with Joe from Cryptoteeology, and we are at the Haunted Liberty Theater and Museum in Nancy Glo, Pennsylvania. And Joe is here to talk about his team and his business. So, Joe, welcome and thanks for coming. Where are you from?
I'm actually from Johnstown, not far away from here, but I grew up about a couple miles up the hill, so I'm a local for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. What's attracted you to either the paranormal or your interests?
Probably unsolved mysteries, horror movies. I mix all those things with the campfire tales that my family used to tell me about haunted locations and Bigfoot sightings and stuff like that. And there was a run of supermarket pocketbooks that they had years ago that would have Mothman, alien sightings and stuff like that. And as a kid, it was very impressionable.
Yeah, so it stuck with you for a really long time.
Yeah.
What do you have, like a favorite cryptid?
I'm gonna say Mothman, but I'm also very much so a fan of Squonk.
Right, partial to the area.
Yes.
And if no one knows what we're talking about, Johnstown, Pennsylvania has its own cryptid, and so you can tell us a little bit more about the Squonk.
So the Squonk is a Pennsylvania folklore creature. Some say cryptid, just depends on what you look at it. It is a creature that is so sad that it would cry itself into a pool of its own tears. It supposedly has two left feet are webbed, so if it were to swim, it would only swim in circles. So this thing saw its reflection in the moonlight in a puddle and realized he was so ugly, he just don't want to exist anymore. So as a Pennsylvanian, I can relate to that never-ending sadness.
Right, the never-ending cycle of being in a perpetual state, at least for 8, 9 months of the year, we're dark and gray and a little gloomy.
Yeah.
And so for the 3 months of kind of summer into fall, we come out from our holes. And,
Seattle got grunge from it. We got the Squonk.
Exactly, the Squonk. I absolutely love that. So tell us a little bit about Cryptoteeology.
So it is my business. I specialize in t-shirts, cryptid art, posters, stickers, such like that. I have a graphic design background, illustrator background, and I wanted to kind of have fun with it. So bring some of the local lore, stories like the legend of the Staple Bend Tunnel and the Highwayman there, the Melt Shop Ghost of Johnstown, the Bigfoot of Hingston Run, the waterfall, all these things that are around here, but mix it in with the more, popular cryptids like Mothman, like the Flatwoods Monster, stuff like that. And I take it on the road. It's my full-time job now. I worked in screen printing for about 17 years. And I wanted to kind of go and do my own thing. And I have a very supportive wife that said, let's do it. Let's give it a try. And I've been living the dream, as they say. It's been awesome.
Well, yeah, I think that everybody wants to get to a point where what they do for their pleasure or their leisure or whatnot becomes their business. And when you're doing those things and waking up every morning, it's the best job that you could have.
It's very cliche, and until it happens to you, you think that, oh, that's just so corny, I love the job, the kind of thing.
But, or unrealistic and off in the distance, but you're living it.
You just got to kind of keep to it. It's a lot of hard work, but if you can find the time, whether you're doing it a couple weekends a month or a year, or if you can find that audience, just get out there and take that leap.
Is this how you started out, kind of going to conventions like this and getting yourself out there and then realizing, oh man, there's a whole market for this?
Yeah, I have my own comic books. Like I said, I did that years ago, and I did a small Comic-Con scene, did that circuit for a bit, and it didn't really get to where I wanted to do what I wanted to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have the experience a couple of times a year traveling the shows and attending these shows as a kid. Yeah, I went to hundreds of Comic-Cons and such. But then when I did my cryptid stuff, it was there's a little bit of a trend following the cryptid stuff growing after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, went down that rabbit hole and found a lot of cool things and was just getting into these things when they had all this free time. And for me, I was kind of I'm going to tell these stories. I have a trading card set that tells the stories and stuff like that. And I'm I want to kind of take it out there and see how it goes. And it was so much different. It was night or day that people responded to not only just the cryptid art in general, because I do have a lot of original art, but mixing things up like Mothman Randy Savage or the Mothman Exorcist.
Oh, wow. That would be so cool.
Comic parody covers and stuff like that. And it's just been so much different of a response. I'll go to shows in Kentucky and people recognize my stuff. I'll do shows in Wisconsin, Ohio, all over the place.
How does that feel? So, have somebody recognize your hard work that you're showing the world now?
it's pretty awesome to have an audience that follows you around, that likes your stuff, that will promote it and come and say hi and, you know, just spread the love. And that's the community, the cryptid community, the paranormal, supernatural community, the ufologists, the Bigfoot people. They're all a tight-knit community, and people support each other. And, you know, whether it's other vendor friends, hey, I want to buy that. I want to, you know, share
Check
your
out
stuff,
this
come to your
page.
show.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is the best part really about at least our event today, right? Is that like a lot of us have seen each other before, a bunch of us have never seen each other before, and we act like this big community family, and we're gonna say, oh, check out this booth, check out this vendor, share this code, you know, do whatever, because this is called Paraunity Paracon for a reason. We're here to all come together, even the, you know, cryptid enthusiasts, or people who like to make spooky candles, or whatever talent that you have. We accept you in the paranormal community, and I think that it's really cool that we're all here together to help support each other.
Yes.
So, out of is this your first time here at the Liberty Theater?
No, not the first time in the theater, but obviously first time for this event. Like I said, I grew up around this area, so every now and then this place over the years would have some kind of thing going on. So I've been in it before, but it's one of those things that it's kind of cool to see it kind of latching on to a little more of the supernatural, paranormal aspect of it, because you got the historical societies around the areas here, like they like to support this stuff too, and it's something that's going to bring people together. Learn the history. Almost every building you go to has some kind of history, you know, with something, ghost sightings, paranormal. So you kind of like bring that together and keep it coming out and supporting it, helping it become something better, have other events, and just be a part of the community and not be blacklisted as like here's this, you know, supernatural thing.
Do you think that people are more apt now to embrace it and understand it because, like, maybe like you were saying during COVID, they decided, let me look at what's out there, and then they rabbit hole down all these other things? Do you think that that's like a big part to do with why this is getting more and more popular?
I do, and I think a lot of people, you know, the next generation has become a lot more accepting of things, even for the point where I've had at a show, I had a pastor come to me, and former pastor, and said, I've seen Bigfoot years ago. I couldn't talk about this, but now this community is out there and it kind of accepts these things. I can go talk to speakers about their other personal experiences of the same nature. And I think that, yes, people, one, knowledge, information, research. You also have more interconnectivity, so people are learning about these stories that might be 2 towns over they never heard about, but now people are promoting it on social media, or, you know, doing TikTok videos or Instagram reels about these things that, oh, I didn't know that story. Like, even me, I've lived in this area, and I'm still discovering stories I've never heard, that like right in my own backyard kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And like I said, that's one of the things I like, going to places and telling them you could find these things right in your own town.
They're right underneath your nose, and you don't even know about it. Because I'm from Danny Glow, and I moved to Colorado for 8 years, and I came back, and I lived just a few miles up the road, and I drove past here one day, and they had a sign out for a ghost event and a public investigation. I said, since when is this? But it was never like this whenever I was younger. And I think that it would have made a large difference if we had talked about it then, if there were events like this, or if people really welcomed it. But since I moved back, I have just done this like deeper dive into the history of the area, because now that I'm calling it home, it was like one of those places I wanted to run away from for forever. But now that I'm calling it home and I'm an adult, I really want to go back and say, where is this place from? You know, like, who came here? Who made it what it was? What did it look like before it looked like all of this? And the more and more that I find out, then the more and more we get corroborating type of evidence when we're here to investigate too. And I think for me, until you have those experiences, it's hard for you to like want to explore them. But when you have it, you want to do it more and more and more. And when you have that experience like that pastor did, then he's more open to hearing what other people have to say too. And I think that that's part of the Paraunity as well, right? Like, we can unite through telling stories.
Yeah, just come talk to us. You know, people see me at a show, and whether I'm at a random craft show or whatever, you stand out and like, hey, he's got Bigfoot stuff. I'm gonna go tell him these stories and stuff like that. So you get people that'll just seek you out in that aspect too. Just here's someone to talk to, and then they come to these events and hear these speakers, and, you know, also to the people that the attendees that have had similar experiences or some kind of, you know, whatever sighting or feeling, or, you know, they just basically say, these are my people.
Yeah, well, they know that they can come and they have a space to say that, and they're not going to get like these weird looks or a bunch
Safe
of
space,
like,
for sure.
right, like invalidating responses or whatnot. And I think that that's the best part of doing stuff like this. And with people coming to tell you their stories, do you see similarities in people's stories about different like things that they've seen?
Yeah, yes and no, because
Mhm.
everyone has some crazy, unique, out of this world story, and you're just like, that is very interesting. I've never heard that one. I've heard someone come up to me and say aliens open portals in her kitchen.
Wow.
You're just like, tell me more about that. I haven't heard that one.
Right.
And then you start looking at different stories out there and other people that have had something like that, or have some kind of, one of the stories about Bigfoot is he was placed here by aliens and can travel to portals that they set up for him. So it's like interconnects with a lot of that stuff, but you always hear something unique and different from people.
And you have another chapter to add to the story that just keeps growing growing and growing. And one of the biggest things that I have heard lately from some people in the paranormal community is all of their theories, right? About like how things came to be, aliens, portals, we make the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a certain theory as to how all of this is connected?
I'm not a researcher. I'm more interested in the story aspect of it, but I'm more of a romantic when it comes to that, because it's one of those things like, I want to believe all this stuff, and I'm hoping in my lifetime there's something fantastic that happens to that aspect of it. But there's so many stories. Everyone is more attuned to certain things.
Sure.
They say like children are more attuned to seeing spirits, and certain people as they grow older kind of regain that attunement to things, or some people are in certain areas that these UFO sightings gravitate towards because of their energy. So there's so many cool, unique things out there. Yeah. I think that it's fun to just kind of hear the stories. And in my version, sometimes there's never been artwork for things like that. So I'll just kind of use my creativity to, here's how I think this looked.
Yeah, and I think too that like when somebody can hear a story and see a visual and make that impact together, they're more likely to have it like imprinted in their memory, and then they can carry that all throughout. And so like little pieces of Joe are everywhere out there.
Apparently, yes, it's true.
What would you, before I let you go back to your booth, what would you tell anybody else who, like you were saying before, thinks that just like going after a job for doing what you love is like totally lost and not realistic?
You can find your way. You gotta just at least try. Like, you can find out maybe you can only do it as a hobby, start off as a hobby. But if you can place any amount of time throughout the week or whatnot towards getting it going, and then start doing a show here or there, because you're never going to just go viral right off the bat. But if you have something that you think should be out there, put it out there, because the world will be better off for it one way or another.
Yeah, we all need everyone. And then tell our listeners too how they can find your artwork, your t-shirts, all of the wonderful talents that you have.
I have a website. It's cryptoteeology.com, or you can go through to contact me, check out all my stuff, my schedule through Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. So you guys heard it here first, live from the Haunted Liberty Theater and Museum. And I will be linking all of those socials onto our video. So at any point in time, go ahead and check out Joe.
Thanks for having me.